Texas A&M transfer Janiah Barker, who is now at UCLA, has a rare mix of athleticism, ball handling, and shot creation at 6'4". The former five-star recruit is just scratching the surface of the future WNBA star she can become. With this college scouting series, I want to start by running through a player's stat profile, then we'll get into their strengths and improvement areas, and finally finish off with my preseason scouting grade on them as prospects. To start with the basics, Barker is what I would describe as a big wing, power wing, combo big, combo forward. There's so many terms you can use for her. Extremely versatile at 6'4", with a monstrous 6'7" wingspan. The main question you might have is, how is Barker eligible for the draft if she is a junior? You can declare for the draft after your junior season if you turn 22 in the same year as you are drafted. So for Barker, she's 20 right now, but she turns 21 in November, so she will be 22 in 2025, towards the end of 2025 after her rookie season, so she is eligible. And she's also made it known previously that her plans are to declare after her junior season, but that was before she transferred to UCLA, so it probably just depends on how this season goes. Anyways, as far as her production last season at Texas A&M as a sophomore, 12.2 points, 7.6 rebounds, 1.4 assists to 1.3 turnovers, also 2 stocks per game on 52% from 2, 34% from 3, and 63% from the line, in 26.5 minutes per game. Moving to Barker's strengths as a prospect, it starts with her shot creation, but also her off-ball shooting, rim protection, and defensive versatility. To start with the shot creation, this is what makes Barker such an exceptional prospect for me. We've only seen this level of athleticism and fluidity as a ball handler in a handful of prospects ever among like 6'4", 6'5" players. It's kind of just Candace Parker, Brianna Stewart, Elena Deladon, and probably just Janiah Barker. Barker's bend that she gets to create space in the mid-range is nuts. She's already like marvelous at scoring in the mid-post and overall as an isolation scorer. She has an unblockable shot at 6'4" with her high release point, but also her balance, like on those bending, whenever she can bend, the flexibility in her lower body to get defenders off balance, create space, and then also combined with that, it's just her overall footwork, how she aligns her body. So just truly a mismatch nightmare against fives, against fours, but also against switches as well. Like no guard is closing out and actually affecting a pull-up jumper that she takes. Like the ability to pull up, score in the mid-range is elite. No questions asked there. For some numbers, last season she shot 38.8% on pull-up twos on 1.6 attempts per game. A lot of these attempts were at like the mid-post isolation. My hope with Barker at UCLA, but also in the W, is you use her as this inverted ball handler. If you aren't familiar, like an inverted ball handler is where a smaller player is screening for a taller player. So like, for example, having a guard screen for Barker, get that switch, makes things impossible to stop. Also like 4-5 screening actions as well. Having Barker at the 4, a 5 there, 4-5 screening actions can also be extremely valuable with her in those situations. And then for her pull-up three-point shooting, she did not take a ton of pull-up threes last season, but also as a freshman either. But I think there's a good chance in the W at some point she will make pull-up threes. The mechanics are too good. The touch, the fluidity she has as a scorer is too good for me not to think that she can't shoot and make pull-up threes at a pretty solid level for someone at 6'4". Not saying it'll happen, but there is a good chance she'll get there at some point. Besides being this awesome pull-up scorer, Barker provides so much in terms of lineup flexibility because of what she can do as an off-ball shooter. For the numbers, last season she was 37% on catch-and-shoot threes on 1.8 attempts per game. Because she moves so well without the basketball and can work off ball, is just an understanding of spacing and where to be. With this, at the W, you can play her at the 4 alongside a 5 that can't space, but also next to a 4 that can space, put Barker at the 5, and you can go 5 out and just have so much space for her to isolate the mid-range, but also space from 3, have driving windows for your guards and your wings. So much lineup flexibility with a player like this, with her combination of like on-ball scoring, but also what she can do as an off-ball scorer as well. Moving to the defense, Barker is an incredible defensive prospect. For the numbers as far as like her impact on this Texas A&M defense last season, they had a 79.8 defensive rating with Barker on the court. With her on the bench, that went up to 92. For reference, in terms of what this means, whenever Texas A&M had Barker on the court, they were basically the third best defense in the entire country behind only South Carolina and Norfolk State. She was the most impactful defender on this team, and also worth noting that their point guard, India Rogers, last season is 5'6", and respectfully, she is objectively an awful defender. So for A&M to be this good defensively is because of like Aisha Coulibaly, but also what Janiah Barker can do. Her defense last season was incredible. For some numbers, 2.4% steal rate and a 2.5% block rate. Barker's versatility as well is what makes her so impactful. Like, take this possession for example. You see how she can hedge out, make a play on the ball, disrupt ball handlers, but also get back, defend at the rim, and provide help defense. These type of plays just speak to her defensive value as just a mover, being able to switch, hedge, but also play passing lanes, defend at the rim as like a primary rim protector in one-on-one assignments, but also as a helper. The value defensively, with her size, with her length, with her strength and mobility, just makes her like a potential all-defense caliber player at the WNBA level. I'm not going to say Defensive Player of the Year because that's high expectations, but she is like a super fun defender because of what she can do from a schematic standpoint on both ends and the versatility that she gives you. For her improvement area / questions, it starts with like, can she drive more instead of settling for tough mid-range jumpers? Awesome in the mid-range like we talked about, but she does settle a lot in matchups whenever she has an advantage to just drive. Also, fouling, free throw shooting, and the other question is like a mix between, is it an improvement area, but also is it a question? Is there passing upside here? Could Barker become a plus passer at the next level? Starting with her finishing and her driving in specific, Barker is not a bad finisher, like whatsoever. She is an awesome finisher. With her athleticism, with her body control at the rim, her strength, she's awesome at finishing. 63.6% in the half court last season on 2.6 attempts per game. That volume should be higher, but it also goes to her foul drawing as well. 12% free throw attempts rate in 2024. That ranked in the 12th percentile among Division I players. She's a good driver, but it's worth noting that A&M had no spacing. They had a non-shooting 3, a non-shooting 5 next to Barker. So there was no spacing there, but still though, there was a lot of times where she'd be one-on-one against a mismatch, smaller player on her, and she would settle instead of just going right through them, drawing a foul, and getting to the free throw line. And part of that to me could be that she's just not a good free throw shooter, like whatsoever. I'm wondering if, because the free throw shooting has been an issue dating back to high school, like for reference, last season, 63%, the year before as a freshman, 58%. It was never 70% in high school either. So I wonder if there's a confidence issue here where she's like, I don't want to drive and get fouled because I don't make my free throws. I'd love to get her perspective on that just because that could be the root of the problem. So hopefully at UCLA, the free throw shooting does get better. It's weird for as good of a catch and shoot three-point shooter as she is, as special of a shot creator that she is as well, she can't make free throws. It's kind of like Nalissa Smith, where it's like, why can't she make her free throws? I'm wondering if it's like she's so strong that she's just overshooting the ball at the free throw line. Sometimes it looks super flat. It looks like she's putting too much power into it. Not sure completely why. It could be just a whole mindset thing where she's just not confident and just hasn't been confident because she's always struggled there. But it's huge. This is a huge thing for her. We see it with Nalissa Smith. If you can draw fouls but can't make free throws, it's just so tough. Like, teams are going to foul you. They're going to put you in that position late in games to take late free throws with the game on the line. So that's a concern. Like, honestly, if she made her free throws and was more confident as a driver and got to the rim more, she would be like a couple tiers better as a prospect. And she's already like an awesome prospect. That's something to consider as well. And then for her fouling, this is an issue as well. She fouls a lot. I will say no excuses, but she does get a bad whistle. There was multiple games against LSU and South Carolina this season where she would make a good play on defense. Like she was in position, did not even leave the ground, was like in typically normal guarding position and got called for a foul. Super weird whistle there. I'm not sure why, if it was just a coincidence, whatever it is, but she did get a bad whistle in the SEC last season. But still, there are moments where she just gambles and just isn't disciplined defensively. You need her on the court, and that's why she did not play 30 plus minutes per game last season, because she was consistently in foul trouble. Like for some numbers, 4.8% foul rate in 2024. That ranked in the 31st percentile in Division I. She also fouled out in 5 games as well. That is the second most of any player 6'1" or taller in the SEC, behind Essence Cody, who was a freshman at Alabama. Finally, to recap, my scouting grade heading into the season on Barker is a 60 grade. She is my number 3 prospect in this class, behind Paige Beckers, obviously, and Kiki Iriafen. Then it's Barker. Her median outcome for me is an all-star caliber player. She is a better prospect than Nalissa Smith for me. Similar in terms of like Nalissa Smith was a good defender in college, the athleticism, but Barker is a better three-point shooter than Smith was in college. Also, the shot creation is slightly better. Smith is a better post scorer than Barker, but the main reason she is a 60 grade is just upside. You're betting on upside in the class. My dream pick for Golden State this year is Janiah Barker, because she's young. She has all the upside to be a future star and a future franchise-changing player. She's a 60 grade for me just because the production just hasn't been there completely. Like you see in the NFL, you're betting on tools, but also like traits, like tools and the traits of like the athleticism, the arm talent. You saw with Anthony Richardson, who was drafted by the Colts in like the top 10. Barker has the talent, the athleticism, the shot-making tools to be an awesome star and be like a franchise-changing superstar. But she needs to build on the small things. Like if she can add counters as a driver and just be more confident there, the free throw shooting is linked to that as well. And then if she can clean up the fouling. If she can stay on the court and not foul, we're talking about a top 20-ish prospect ever, possibly top 10 prospect ever, because of her ceiling. She has the second highest ceiling in this class because of that. And that's why I was like, Kiki Iriafen does not have the shot making upside. But she does have a high upside. Like Kiki Iriafen has like all W upside, but her floor is also way higher than Barker. And that's why she's at number 2 and Barker is at 3. Anyways, let me know in the comments below. What is your evaluation on Barker as a prospect? Am I too high on her prospects? Am I too low? Do you think she should be higher than this? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more WNBA content covering basketball at all levels on this channel. Anyways, I'll see y'all next time.